such things in order to optimize the production rate. And while we define the alternatives and predict their consequences, what we are doing is actually we have to ask different questions to ourselves, right? Because engineering involves many choices among different alternatives. And while we are defining such alternatives, we have to clarify them at first, and we have to ask certain questions. For example, at first, we should ask, why do we do this at all, actually? Do we need that, really, or not? The second question is timing. Whether it's the right time for us to do it now or later, okay? And the third, why should we do this in this way, okay? For example, let's give an example about that. Let's think about the water flooding, okay? The first question, why do we start water flooding in a certain field? Of course, our answer should be the increased oil recovery, right? It means that we produce some oil already, and now the pressure of the reservoir start declining, and our recovery or our production rate decreased as well. So our main aim should be increasing that again. So how we can do that? We can apply water flooding. And our main aim is increasing the recovery. The second question, why should we start it now? Okay, we start it before we encounter the serious reduction in the reservoir pressure, when it will be very difficult for us to interfere. Okay, so we have to take precautions before we encounter any serious or more serious reduction in the reservoir pressure. That's why we should start it now. Okay, so can you remember such kind of equation in terms of water flooding? Any of you?
Yes.
Yeah, can you just explain whatever you know? What does it mean?
Relative permeability and the viscosity of the certain fluids are taking place in this equation, and in water flooding, our case is oil and water.
That's true. So M means, any ideas?
Mobility.
Exactly. This is the mobility, right? Mobility ratio. So while we are trying to see the mobility is quite important for us. While we are injecting water, what's our main aim is? Water should displace the oil, right? We are injecting water and it's displacing or pushing the oil through the well so that we can produce. So that we want to have a kind of favorable displacement. For the favorable displacement, what does it mean? We should produce oil. We should produce less water, but more oil. This is our main aim, right? First of all, we should have a kind of higher relative permeability for the oil. That's the first thing. What about the other thing? We should have less viscosity, right, for the oil. Because if we have less viscosity, it means that it will be more easier, much more easier for the oil to flow. So when you look for this equation, you can see that it's the ratio of the relative permeability of water to the relative permeability of oil, and viscosity of oil to the viscosity of the water, okay? So when you look at the equation, when M is less than 1, which means that the permeability, the relative permeability for the water is less, or the viscosity of the oil is high, which is not desirable for us, okay?
Yeah.
So in that case, you have to compare whether our displacement will be favorable or unfavorable. So we want to have a kind of M, which is less than 1, okay? So we want to have a kind of higher relative permeability for oil and less viscosity of oil. So that's our main aim. If we have this, if we can manage or achieve this, we are going to have a kind of like favorable displacement, which will increase our recovery, okay? So the third question, why do we do this in this way? For example, for the water flooding, we can use some different patterns, okay? Patterns mean we can change the well spacing and the arrangement of the wells in different ways, okay? So any of you can remember what kind of ways we can use for the water flooding? Any patterns that you can remember or you have seen? For example, have you ever seen such kind of patterns for the water flooding case? No? So there are some alternative ways, okay, applying water injection in a field. So if we are
Hocam,
injecting, yes?
Could you please say again patterns means?
Yeah, of course. The patterns means that you are arranging the well spacing and the arrangement and the spacing of the wells. Okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You are more than welcome. Okay, Jaydenur have seen that. That's good.
I've seen line patterns, hocam, only.
Yeah, okay, well patterns, that's true. Okay. Yeah, you can say that the arrangement of the wells in general. So what's the difference in between them? For example, if I say inverted case, 7 spots